You've got a goal. Brilliant. You're down here. The goal is up there. How are we going to build you into the type of person who can automatically achieve that goal? Today's episode of the Race Driver Coach Show is speaking specifically about the topic I'm most passionate about: your mind, your operating system. We cover many topics, from sponsorship to braking technique to the mind, but the mind is where I belong as a coach. And I see it as being the biggest area, really, the biggest opportunity for a driver, or anybody who's listening to this, but a driver just like you who is attempting to achieve something in racing. It's going to be your mind that pulls it off. Okay, you need your limbs. You need, obviously, the levers to help you drive this race car as fast as you can. But the thing that operates that, the control center, is obviously your mind, which has got all your knowledge, all your know-how, the communication it takes from the brain to your body. Everything is there. That's the epicenter. And I don't see enough of you out there working hard enough on this area. In fact, I can see drivers spending an hour or two in the gym 5 days a week, but they don't spend an hour or two on their mind. Even in the week, the entire week, they don't spend an hour or two just chiseling, training, developing the mind so it's the perfect mind for the race driver. This is where I want your mind or your focus to be in the coming weeks, starting from this point forward. If you're going to watch any more of this video, it is your way of committing to mental training. It's your way of saying, right, if I'm going to listen to any more of this video, then I'm in. It's like a contract. I don't even know if you're watching this or when you're watching this, but if you still are, then from this point forward, you're making a commitment to yourself to say, I am going to improve the mind to make sure it performs better, so then I got more of a chance of achieving my goal. It really is all about your mind. Just think back now and look back on the week that's just gone. How long did you spend training it, making sure that it was better this week? And I don't just mean reading a book and getting the knowledge in. That's all right. But everybody knows a lot of things about different things, but it doesn't make them masters. So when you read a book and you have an epiphany, it could be any of the self-help industry books. It's, this is a great idea, from The Secret to Atomic Habits, all these things, right? We've read them. Yeah, it's really good. And you've got taglines that stick. This is brilliant. And it's going to ring in the back of our mind now and then. That's not mastering the mind. Mastering the mind is just like mastering the body, or should I say, building the mind that you need is like building the body that you need for a job. If you follow my stuff, I've just set up Base Mental Fitness, and it's all about that. You've got a goal. Brilliant. You're down here. The goal is up there. How are we going to build you into the type of person who can automatically achieve that goal? Not just to chase it, but to become the person that attracts that goal to them so it just arrives because of the way they are. This is how you've got to see yourself. I've got a future goal in mind. I've got a future life that I can see now as I close my eyes. The only way, I promise, the only way that you're going to attract that into your life and create it and make it happen is if you become the person who can pull that off, who can achieve all that. That comes down to mental fitness training. From this moment forward, I want you to pick a topic. Pick something that you know you need to be better at. For example, confidence or discipline. Two whoppers there. Now, these are two qualities and attributes that if you've got in bucketfuls, you're going to go far in life, or at least they are the fuel that take you closer anyway. Really important assets to have. So say if it's confidence, right? This is exactly how you do mental training. Thinking back to when I was a kid, I lacked confidence. I left a job once because I had to speak in a classroom in front of people, and I just left because I couldn't take it. Until I decided no more. I cannot let lack of confidence Be the reason why I fail. Be the reason why I'm unfulfilled is more important in life. And I went and got that job back and I made sure I was put on that duty. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about you leveling up. So say if you do have this lack of confidence, right? And you know it's just an emotion. It's an emotion you've got to train or control or manage if you want to release yourself into this world and be the most you can. You say, right, I need to turn up the volume on my confidence. I need to get better on that because I can't speak to people very well. I'm not very good in front of a camera. I want to do my social media branding, but I can't because I'm, again, in front of the camera and I just clam up and I can't speak. This confidence thing is really the crippling factor on people's lives when all they've got to do is they know the action they've got to take and they've got to go and do it. But then confidence comes in, sets a filter, and it's like, oh, I can't do that because of whatever. And they've got their own reason. But really, it's just they don't really want to be judged, or there's going to be something there. So if you've got confidence as something you want to grow, it's only an example. It could be, again, anything else, discipline, procrastination, focusing, concentration, delivering under pressure, all these things, right? You can train any one of them, but let's just take confidence. So first of all, you get the motivation. You know that it's got to change, but you've got to get the brain to a point where it says, no more can I live this way. This is so damn important, this confidence thing, that I am determined to improve it. Over the next month, over the next week, I'm going to make leaps in this area. I'm going to force this emotional control, this confidence to come in. And I think this is something that is the first hurdle for people, the motivation. But then on top of that, they don't realize that they have to force the brain. They have to break it, like literally break the brain in order to improve it. Just like you do with a muscle. You go to the gym and say you're working on your chest and you're doing bench press. You don't just do enough so it's just getting on the edge of the comfort. Like, okay, I could do 12 reps, but I'm going to 6. I can start to feel it get a little bit painful now, and that'll do. And you hook it up. That's it, I'm done. You're not going to grow, right? You'll slightly make a difference after 10 years maybe, but it's not really going to grow because you haven't ripped the muscle. You haven't pushed it to failure, and then it recovers stronger, bigger. That's what we need to do with confidence. Because we normally say, right, I want to be a bit more confident. I'm going to speak up this time in this meeting or in front of this camera. And then you might say 2 more words. That's not really pushing it out. That's doing your 6 reps instead of 12. We need to get proper reps in if we're training the brain to be better in a certain area. And that means forcing it. It means breaking it, really making the brain at breaking point. Get it to that point. It's like, that hurt. Now I've got to recover, but in recovering, I'm going to build. They're scared to do it. People are scared to do it with their neck as well, right? When you're thinking about physical training, like, oh, my neck's going to, but if you go with a proper trainer, they bust that neck. It feels like it's going to come off. You're like, surely this is going to be dangerous. Surely this is going to hurt me when I'm older. Nope, not if it's done correctly. The brain's the same. It can take a lot of punishment, a lot more than you think. And in doing so, and we've got to be careful. There's a flip side. You can take this too far, and then it gets into the mental health bracket of, okay, now I push too much. I've given myself trauma. You know what I mean here. We've got to be sensible. It means doing the reps until you're like, you know what? I'm burnt out today. I'm done. But tomorrow, I'm going to come back knowing that I've just increased my threshold, and I'm actually going to go further tomorrow. That's the kind of reps you need. That's the kind of breaking of the brain so you form a new one that you need. So let's get back to confidence. So you know you've got the motivation. You got to that level. You're like, no more. I've got to get confident. This is embarrassing now. I can't talk to the people when I want to ask them out for a date. Oh, this isn't going to end very well. I'm going to be on my own forever. This is where we do the reps. We get a plan, just like you do with the muscle again. Right, I want to build my chest. What am I going to do? And you go on the internet and you research it and you look at it and you say, like, these 5 exercises, the bench, the incline, the flies, actually these 3, I'm just going to go with these 3. And you go there, do it. You ache like hell for the next 4 days, 5 days, even if you haven't done it for a long time. And then after the 4th day, you say, right, enough now, enough rest. You go back and do it again and again. What can you do with the emotion that you want to create, or emotion you want to improve, or mental skill that you want to improve, what can you do on a daily basis that does exactly the same as those 3 exercises for the chest? The equivalent. Going back to confidence, I need to push the comfort zone that takes me outside of my comfort zone. So I need confidence to actually do what I want to do. I need to do something that does that once per day, something that pushes me outside of my comfort zone once a day. What could I do? And you start to get creative. You can even research that. Things that help you push your comfort zone, outside your comfort zone. There'll be plenty on ChatGPT. There'll be, ChatGPT will tell you straight away, but there's plenty on Google, things people do to stretch their confidence muscle. And you come up with 3 or 4 things. These are the things I'm going to do this week. I'm going to do 1 a day. Even if I have to repeat and do the same thing every single time, I'm going to slot it in, and that's going to be my set. I'm going to do reps every single day. So I know in a week's time, because it doesn't take long actually to recode the brain, certain elements. In a week's time, I'm going to be that bit more confident. And I'm going to keep stretching myself 5 times a week. Do my mental gym. It could be just doing 1 action that takes like 4 minutes, 3 minutes a day, but it's learning. The brain's gaining confidence. It's seeing you take actions, and it's like, wow, I just did that. Now my belief system is starting to change about how I see myself and my capabilities and who I am as an individual. My identity is changing. Now we're talking about mentally recoding you just by taking a few actions per week, reps, sets that are training the brain. And it could be something like you go into the gym. So I'm going to train my body, but there's something I'm going to do on the way. I'm maybe going to talk to that receptionist that I've been putting off for ages. There's going to be something you can do that can stretch you. Again, we're only talking about confidence, but I want you to pick a skill, mental skill now that you know you need to get better at. And then come up with a training plan and then schedule it and stick to it. Journal it. How was it? And in fact, I'm just creating an app right now that allows you to do this, where you log something you've done that day, and it could be a really good thing that you did, or you failed. You went to speak to that person and you didn't. So a flop moment or a peak moment, and it allows you to capture these. So you've got them there, and it will remember your code. This is what you need to do for yourself. Before I've done this app, it's going to be a free app, by the way, and this isn't an advert. Didn't mean to just even mention that, but do it for yourself. Build a training plan, execute on it. What can I do today to train or at least get better in that area? And you do it. So you've got to commit to this, and you've got to make it really important. You can change the brain so fast. I want you to make sure you've got a system and a plan in place so you can do just that. And if you can, achieving your goals, done. You just be saying next.